Alright everyone, let's talk about Death Stranding, my other most anticipated title alongside Cyberpunk 2077. Information surrounding the game remains as scarce as ever, and we'll no doubt have to wait until whatever event Sony will be hosting as a replacement for their E3 2019 absence for the next major blowout. Hopefully one that will show off some gameplay this time. But development on Death Stranding actually seems to be going pretty smoothly. It was only late last year that Kojima confirmed the game is now in its polishing stages, with all gameplay elements having been put together the summer prior. We are also hearing about how voice actors are wrapping up recording for the game, with Japanese voice actors now stepping in to dub over, and we're even seeing Kojima let some friends and acquaintances get their hands on the game to glowing reception. Now, another potential indicator that Death Stranding is starting to take form is the fact that Kojima Productions has started trademarking aspects of their upcoming new game. The following information comes from Twitter user TrademarkBot, which seemingly keeps track of trademark applications in Japan. 2 weeks ago, on February 14th, 2019, this trademark bot posted the following two tweets, each of which seemingly pertain to Death Stranding. According to the tweet's translation, the applicant of these trademarks is none other than Kojima Productions, and the application was filed on January 24th, 2019, so a month ago, with the category of the trademark being downloadable games programs. As for what exactly is being trademarked, well, you can see for yourself that there are two names here, one being called Social Strand System and the other one being called Strand Game. There aren't any additional details beyond these names, but it's possible to glean at what they may be referring to based on information we currently have. For example, the Social Strand System no doubt refers to whatever unique multiplayer system Kojima's planning for Death Stranding, something he's hinted about multiple times in the past. When asked about the game's online component, Kojima kept saying that it's not something he can talk about too much at the time, but actors involved in the game have let slip a few hints. For example, when Norman Reedus participated in an interview with the B&H Photography podcast, he was asked about Death Stranding at some point, about which he had this to say: "The concept is so mind-blowing because it's not like kill everybody and win the game, it's a connecting thing. It's like the opposite, it's so ahead of its time, and there are elements of social media in it. And the idea is that so many games and so many parts of millennial culture are being alone in a room and you lose contact, physical contact with people. This is after that and the reestablishing of that physical contact. It's super, super interesting." This reinforces the themes Kojima's been touting for the game, this whole idea of connections, of strands that bind us all together, of trying to create a game that emphasizes the rope rather than the stick, so on and so forth. Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Death Stranding's still nameless antagonist, had something similar to say, stating, quote, "The whole concept of playing the game, as I understand, needs collaboration from different people from different parts of the world, which is also another level of fantasticness." Kojima also seemingly let a few of his associates in on details about what kind of collaborative online experience he's trying to create with Death Stranding. Back in December of last year, you may recall that Kojima met up with science fiction and horror author F. Paul Wilson, after which Wilson tweeted the following: "Hideo Kojima is in New York City this week and we got together for dinner. We discussed his new project, Death Stranding, which I think will be a transformative online experience. The man is a true visionary who blows my mind by calling me Sensei." Less discussed is the fact that Kojima himself has vaguely chimed in about Death Stranding's online system in an interview with PlayStation Blog. When asked about the Strands concept being introduced into his new game, Kojima said this: "Concerning the Strands, this is my 31st year in the games industry, and I've been deep in action games across that time. In action games, generally, the player has a gun and plays against enemies in a single-player environment, or they take it online and play against other players in a competitive environment. They join in together with guns, it's almost always with guns, to take down a stronger opponent. In this game you can do that, but I wanted to go a little deeper beyond that with something that doesn't focus on a weapon like a gun, and that's what has a connection to the Strand concept." Then, when asked for further elaboration, Kojima provided the following statement: "Again, this is something we can't say a lot about at the moment, but if you want to play the game standalone without an online component, that's perfectly fine. We do have an online component, and again, it's different as there will be something different versus what most people expect from an online game. A lot of games have a campaign mode, and once you're done with that, you take it to the online mode. This game is not that kind of structure. In other words, Death Stranding will have an optional online system that will be seamlessly integrated into the campaign. Keep in mind that this isn't an online game with a campaign, with Kojima having emphasized that Death Stranding can be played fine standalone without online. But at the same time, it's safe to say that this online component will go a long way in establishing Death Stranding's more unique attributes, whatever they may be. Either way, the bottom line is that this secretive online component is most likely what the social strand system is referring to, something that F. Paul Wilson called transformative, and that Kojima's promising to be very different from what's currently out there. Hell, it seems entirely possible that social strand system is the formal term that will be used in Death Stranding's marketing campaign once the time comes for Kojima and Sony to blow the lid wide open on the title's gameplay. Which brings us to this other trademark for something called the Strand game. This one's a little harder to pinpoint, though I can only surmise that it's also the nomenclature of something related to one of Death Stranding's gameplay components. Perhaps the Strand game refers to the single-player aspect of the Strand system, while the social Strand system refers to when the Strand game is extrapolated to an online environment. Or maybe the Strand game is an element of the social Strand system, a name referring to the gameplay loop or mode that players will be engaging in during the social Strand system online play. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine at this point with what little we know right now, though I have a feeling that we will be hearing details about all of this in the not-so-distant future. The fact that we're seeing official names for Death Stranding gameplay systems being trademarked could be telling us that the game's very far along, that these systems are now being finalized, properly labeled, and being primed to be explained to the general public soon. I'll certainly look forward to the day that happens, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear what your thoughts and theories are on what the terms social strand system and strand game could be referring to in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.